Welcome to the Order of the Dragons, and today we're going to be continuing another episode of Conqueror's Blade Basics. We're going to be doing unit combat today. Remember, this is still in CBT, so there's not all the units are currently out yet. All I'm going to be showing you is the differences between the Maoing and the Astarian side, as well as I'm going to be showing you guys clips of each, what the units are and their moves, stuff like that. So go ahead and get into it. First, we have the common, the sword militia. The sword militia is what you get at the beginning, right after you finish the tutorial. This is what you're going to get, the sword militia or the pike militia. I usually never use the pike militia, so I always usually get just a bunch of sword militia at the very beginning of the game. What's really good with the militia as well is that they have a high gathering rate on the outside, so they have a high labor rate, as well as they have a higher chance of getting higher low-tiered resources. So those are really good. The sword militia are pretty damn good on. They don't have any special abilities, but they do have pretty decent attack and defense and stuff like that. So their basic defenses are pretty decent at the very beginning of the game. But they're very weak against the weak against enemies with the charge ability. They use the charge ability, they're very weak against it, but they can hold their own if they're direct combat, especially if they come into contact with the sword infantry that higher tier sword infantry that have not used the charge ability. They're able to hold their own. Same with the pike militia. They don't have any little special things, but they have a line. They don't have any of grace formation, but that comes at a later thing. So next we have the swordsmen, the peasant swordsmen, and the Astarian levy swordsmen. Both have 40 men and both have same exact formations, as well as they both have shield rush. The levy swordsmen have a higher shield rushing damage, so they have more penetration and stuff like that, and they have a better charge. But the Maoing side have a better base damage and less charge damage. So they're able to hold their own on a normal, they're able to do more damage if they just come into normal contact, but they also have that charge ability, so you can still use that charge ability. But after the charge ability, these guys will last longer than the levy sword will. But it's better to be able to kill instantly, and kill as many units as possible in the charge ability. So the levy swordsmen, I would say, are very good, the best tier 1 units you can get. And as the provincial swordsman uses the same formations as the peasant swordsman and the levy swordsman on the Astarian side, but they have less men, and their stats are a bit upgraded, so they have more armor and stuff like that. But I would say that the levy swordsmen are better than the provincial swordsmen and the peasant swordsmen because they have more men, and like I said, their charge ability has pretty damn good damage. So the more men and the more men you kill in that charge ability, the more likely most of your men are going to survive. The provincial and the Astarian swordsmen, the provincial swordsman and the Astarian Demone swordsman both have the same amount of men, but the Demone swordsmen have a different formation. On the third formation, they have a shield formation, which is a defensive formation that protects it from arrows, as well as if there's enemy units that just move forward and touch close to contact to the shield formation. If they don't use the charge ability, these Demone swordsmen will be able to do heavy damage onto the enemy that's up right next to them. They also have the charge shield rush.
Yes, sir. Charge! Get in position! Assemble the troops! Form up!
Shall be done.
I'm going to strike for it.
All charge!
Look at that, look at that. Just annihilated all of that charge.
Charge with me!
Let's go ahead and move on to the spearmen. We have the Maoing peasant spearmen and the levy spearmen. Our base Astarian levy spearmen are basically the same thing. Yeah, they have a little bit different in stats. The peasant spearmen have more defense, whereas the levy spearmen on the Astarian side have more attack. But they do not have any really specific thing. They have the shield wall, they have the turtle formation, they have the skilletron. Both, they all have that. But the peasant sword spearmen and the levy spearmen do not have any push forward or follow cover commander. But the tier 2 iron cap spearmen also have they have the same formations, but they have cover commander and advance. And that both the iron cap spearmen and the tier 2 Demone spearmen both have the cover commander and advance, but the iron cap spearmen have higher defense than the Demone spearmen, while the Demone spearmen have more attack than the iron cap spearmen. These guys are really good for, let's say you get into the turtle formation and you see an enemy commander ahead, you can click advance on your turtle formation, and if you manage to get one of those commanders to get inside the advancing turtle formation, you're able to immediately click on attack, and they will immediately just decimate the enemy commander that's in that formation at that time. So it's very well in that.
Follow me!
It's coming for you.
Yes, sir.
Your
Charge
forces
with
have captured
protection!
the supply point.
Yes, my lord. Stay
coming.
with me. Fight together.
Push.
Come on. 10k down.
Assemble the troops!
Kill everyone.
Yes, my lord.
Grab your units with
No.
archers.
I'm pushing and it's only me, it seems.
Move up!
Yeah, my unit's dead, that's it, my unit's gone. That was a waste.
Stay with me. Fight together.
Assemble the troops! Form up!
Yes, sir.
Let's go ahead and start talking about the pikemen. The pikemen are really good for defensive operations. If you put a iron cap spear wall or a Demone spear wall in front, and you immediately put the peasant pikemen or iron cap pikemen or any of the other Asterian pikemens inside the enemy, the allied, you can put them behind, or you can literally put them inside of the spear wall. And if you do that, the spear wall will be taking the damage while your pikemen will not, but your pikemen will be doing tons of damage to the enemy, as the other enemy will not be able to even approach the shield wall. So it's very good of keeping the enemies at bay, in the sense when they're trying to push forward, they cannot push forward because you have a good wall in place. The peasant pikemen and the Asterian levy pikemen do not have any other really specific formations, just like the Pike militia. They're basically similar to the Pike militia, but a little bit better on that side. But the Iron Cap Pikemen have a thing called brace weapons. The Iron Cap Pikemen and the Demonese Pikemen both have brace weapons. And what this does is that no matter where they're at, no matter where, just basically no matter where they're at, if they're next to you or far away, they will immediately, if you click brace weapons, they will immediately go down and push down. So like if you cannot get your men into a line or a spearhead formation or your Giltron formation, they will basically, you can immediately use brace weapons. If their enemies are charging forward, you can immediately click brace weapons. They'll brace their weapons forward, and it will stop the enemy charge. It will stop all the other stuff from damaging your. That's very good for that if you have no time to put your men into a line or spearhead or skilldron or any other formation. Gosh damn it!
Yes, sir.
And lance this forward.
Hold up their advance. Protect the general. Hold your ground.
Welcome to death, boys. Oh shit. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to the Javelineers and the Iron Cap Spearthrowers. The Iron Cap Spearthrowers and the Javelineers are a really good class on doing heavy damage. They're also a very tanky class in the sense of they can go up against archers, throw their javelins, do some heavy damage to the archers, and run back. But the problem is that they do not have enough ammo for that. So it's very difficult to take out a lot of units with this class because they don't have enough ammo. The really thing is you push them, you throw your javelins, all your javelins, you push them back, you go refill, and it's pretty repetitive, but it's very tactical if you use it. If you use it in the correct way, you can decimate the enemy archers and be able to save your teammates from a hectic situation. They also have pretty decent attack, and they can last a lot longer. So they're very tanky class. And I think on the when I go to because I think I'm going to play as Glaive in the next CBT. So on the next CBT, I'm going to have I'm going to go with main a Javelin Men or an Iron Cap Spearthrower and see what I can do, what level I can get to them, and all that stuff. But you can also see on the melee side, you can get a tier 3 a Vanguard Spearthrower, but the Asterian side, they currently do not have it as it is unlocked on tier 4 and stuff like that. So you'll be able to get another next level up Spearthrower on the melee side rather than the Asterian side. So it's going to take a little bit longer to get the next Javelins on the Asterian side. But these guys are really good against archers. They're really good against killing players, lonely players, because those javelins do some heavy damage, and they're pretty damn accurate. So they're really good on doing damage, but they have very few ammo and not the greatest range. But they're very tanky as well, so that's really well. So let's go ahead and move on to ranged units. So the archers currently on the CBT is an extremely OP class. And I've seen people use, like, let's see, I remember there was one match on the CBT1, before the Houts test, that 90% of the enemy team were archer player units, as well as they all had archers onto the field. All they had was archers. All they brought out was archers. There was no melee units. All I saw was archers, and they were just massacring everything because nothing could approach because they were doing so much of massive damage. And that's the problem, is that there's no limit on how many archers you can bring on the field. There's no limit of any type of unit that you can bring on the field. So people just like spam these units, and they will just decimate everything because they have those high damage and high ammo count and high high range and high fire rate and everything. So it's pretty insane, because these archers will one-tap your player horse. They will one-tap your sword infantry. They won't one-tap Javelineers. That's what I'm good about the Javelineers, is that they won't one-tap Javelineers, because the Javelineers, as you can see, have pretty decent defense. Also, they later on in the game, they will level up. When you level them up and all that stuff, you can even increase the damage, you can increase the defense and stuff like that. They won't want, I think, but when you level up your archers, they will one-tap those Javelineers. That's the problem, is that, like, at the very beginning, when you first get your peasant archers versus Iron Cap Spearthrowers, if these are level 1 and these are level 1, they will not one-tap your Javelineers, and you'll be able to face them. But when you level up your freaking archers and you get like that 45% upgrade on your attack, it will one-tap anything. And that's the problem, is that they will one-tap cavalry, they will one-tap any fucking unit in the game. Even Iron Cap Spearthrowers, sometimes they will one-tap if they get the upper hand when they're not in the shield formation. That's the problem with archers right now, is that they're way too OP. They have, I would say, too much ammo. They do way too much damage. If they lowered the damage, it would make sense and they would keep the ammo. But if they're gonna have this same amount of damage, same amount of range, then they need less ammo and stuff like that. But the peasant archers, they have a they have two formations, but they do not have location attack. The Javelineers also have a location attack, so they have like the throw javelin. So they throw their javelin once into a certain area, but the ranged units have a certain location attack. So like this is really good if you go behind a certain, let's say a certain barrier or something like that, and you designate your archers to fire in a certain area. They will continuously keep firing in that spot, killing all the units behind. You can also, really good, if you're defending and you place your archers on a resupply point, and you location attack, they will continuously firing at that spot without losing a single bit of ammo. So if there's a siege tower that pushes forward, you can use that a location attack on that siege tower, and they will continuously keep firing their arrows at the location tower, at that siege tower, non-stop. And they never stop firing those arrows, and they do tons of damage, and they keep killing the units and stuff like that. So they're very good. They both Iron Cap archers and the Austerian archers, the Demonese archers and the Levy archers are pretty similar to the Mayoing side, but as you can see, they have a little bit different stats. They always are going to have a little bit different stats on both sides, but one may have, let's say, more range, and one may have, you know, more attack or more defense and all that stuff.
Nice.
Assemble the troops.
Let's get the rams up. Then we need to push them together.
Attack.
I'm trying to get Kate head.
Raise
Fuck
your
it, God.
shield. Charge.
Attack.
Charge.
Form up.
It shall be done.
Assemble the troops.
Yes, my lord. Yes, sir.
He's got a good supply point near the main point.
Your forces have captured the flag at Point C.
Attack.
Raise your shield. Charge.
Attack.
Charge.
Yeah.
Your forces have
Yep.
captured the flag at Point D.
Because they're firing.
Oh, he's low. Oh fuck! I missed
Iron
him.
caps.
Mail.
Iron caps.
Can't let these jabs supply on here. Fuck.
So I think that is about the archers. So let's go on to the crossbowmen. The crossbowmen, I haven't seen any single field of crossbowmen on the field yet because they're very high level. Here level 40. No one has reached that yet. But there's two crossbow units. We have the repeater crossbow on the Mayoing side, and the Asterian side has their mercenary crossbow. The mercenary crossbow is very slow fire rate, but insane amount of damage. They have a really insane amount of damage, like small fire, like very slow fire rate, very not that long of range, but very high damage. While as the repeater crossbow has a fast fire rate, medium damage, like medium damage, but slow, short range and stuff like that. They might even have slower. If you look at the bow and stuff like, I haven't seen them on the field, but if you think about it, I think these guys will have less range than the normal crossbowmen. But these guys have faster fire rate than the, really faster fire rate I think would matter the most if instead of because if you. Boom, I did a volley, I missed some of my shots, but if I keep don, and you're shooting at lower level units and stuff like that, it's better to have that faster fire rate. So let's go ahead and move on to the Arquebuiser. I've seen a couple people use them, but right now I'm not going to really show a clip for this one because right now the muskets are pretty damn bad and hardly any people use them on the battlefield. But on the siege test, they were pretty damn useful. And what was really good is that for any of the ranged classes, what you can do is put the shield wall forward and immediately put one of the ranged classes behind that shield wall. And the arrows, the bullets, the javelins, the crossbow bolts will go straight through your friendlies and immediately kill the enemies on the other side. So they're very good on that, and they can do tons of damage. The Imperial Arquebuiser, the Crossbowmen, and the Archers both have location attack. You can designate a certain area, but see, the Gunmen, Musketmen right now currently, they have really high damage, but they don't have range, and they're very poor in accuracy, so they'll miss a lot of their shots, and they don't have fast fire. So it's not very useful right now. The only thing I would say they're useful for is, like I said, you put them on a supply point, and you just constantly keep firing in a certain direction where the enemy units are, and hopefully you actually hit tons of the enemies. Also, these guys will do tons of damage to players if they actually hit them. They will massacre players if they hit them. That's the problem. If they hit them. I've seen multiple times where you have enemies going to your friendly shield wall. These guys will be directly behind the shield wall, and they'll miss all their shots. And it's really annoying because they're directly right in front of them. So it's really, really bad. So I wouldn't recommend using the Arquebuiser until they actually fix them on the... Hopefully they fix them and increase their accuracy, stuff like that. They were really good during the siege test, though. The Imperial Arquebuiser and the Asterian Arquebuiser are the same thing, but the Asterian Arquebuiser has a tier 4 arquebust, but the meleeing side only has a tier. But let's go ahead and move on to horses. The Iron Cap Horsemen and the Levy Horsemen are very similar to each other, but this, like I said, the stats different. One might have more attack, one might have more defense and stuff like that. But they don't have any special abilities or anything like that. All they can do really right now is, like, they just, as you can see, we can't get these guys have a charge ability. These guys have a charge, but they're higher level and stuff like that. But the beginner horsemen do not have a charge ability except the Dagger Axe Scout. The Dagger Axe Scout, the ones with the spears, have the best charge ability in the game. But right now, in the beginning of the Iron Cap Horsemen, all they have is just, you tell them to follow you, they'll follow you across the map, and you just run through a couple of units, and they'll start doing their area damage around. And it's very good for taking out infantry that are facing the opposite way or something. If you just, if you just randomly just go around the corner and walk through all the enemies. It's really good if you're like, or something, if you're wanting to stick with combat and stuff like that, which I feel like that I should go with mounted combat when I go. Pretty cool. But the higher tiers have that charge ability on the normal sword infantry, but they're like I said, the charge ability is not as good as if you wanted to have specific charge units. The charge cavalry are not as good as the Dagger Axe Scout. Their charge ability is insanely good. But these guys have more defense than the Dagger Axe Scout. So if you want to last longer, you want to go with the Prefecture Cavalry, because the currently in the game right now, cavalry pretty bad. They're pretty bad. They do not have enough health and defense to really last. Like I said, archers will one-tap them. Sword infantry will one-tap them. If they use their charge ability, they'll one-tap them. If they look at you and get an upper hand, they will one. That's why it's really good if you use tactical maneuver and take out the enemy by using the charge ability from like behind. Or I've managed to get some really good charges with the Dagger Axe Scouts and their charge ability. I managed to kill 80 units in one charge. And I managed to get them to survive a little bit longer. Stuff like that. So the higher the level are, the more damage and the more defense they will have. But they're pretty weak as of right now. Right now, they're hopefully they will change it up a bit and make them a little bit better so they are, or lower the stats on the archers so they don't get one-tapped and stuff. I am fine. See, on infantry, I am fine. With cavalry, you can just think, oh, I'm going to use a tactical maneuver. I'm going to take out the cavalry, take out the infantry with my cavalry, and I'll be able to run straight through them. But the problem is that I've always encountered, every single match I've encountered archers, and I can't do anything against the archers with the cavalry. When you would think, it's like, oh, I could charge my freaking cavalry into those archers and massacre them. But I can't because the archers have super fast fire rate and the super high damage, so they one-tap my horses when I try to get close on them. I literally can charge my entire horses, my 18 cav into the battle, and they will all die. And that's the problem with the cavalry right now, again, on the field, is because everybody's using archers, and you can't really go against the archers cavalry.
It's a good idea to charge them at sea, but
Charge with me!
don't
Yes,
know.
sir. It shall be done.
Attack!
Raise your shields. Charge.
Hurry up!
Yes, my lord.
Cav, I'm gonna prepare to charge. We're charging.
Yes, my lord.
Archer cavalry. The archer cavalry, I can definitely say, is not really the best at all. They're pretty useless. Because, like I said, the other archers, the archers in the game, are pretty damn OP. But the levy cavalry, the archers, they don't have location attack. I'll tell you this, they don't have a location attack. They have a hunt, which you can designate on a specific unit, which is pretty cool. If you're, let's say, I'm going to go on this, I'm going to go with my archers, horse cavalry, and I'm going to lock on to an enemy player, and my horse archers will continuously keep shooting at the enemy. You can do something like that, but like I said, look at this health. This health is even worse than and these guys will get one-tapped all day by any unit they encounter. They will get one-tapped, which is very, very bad because it's the archers in the on the normal archers have extremely range, while the horse archers don't have as much range, and they have less units. So it's very, very difficult. And they have less accuracy. It's very, very difficult to go onto the field with any sort of cavalry at the moment because of the archers. So hopefully they improve that. I think that's about it. But the Maoing has 3 unlocks for archers, horse archers, but the Assyrian has 3 unlocks, straight unlocks, but the Maoing has 2 different types of horse archers that you can choose at tier 4 though. So you can't get any tier 3s with the Assyrian side. You have the advanced horse archers at the very beginning, but later on the Maoing side you have the advantage of types of tier horse archers. Maybe one has 2 different abilities. I do not know, as I can't access them.
Enemy forces have captured Point A.
Now that we have finished all the units, let's go ahead and talk about unit levels and how do we upgrade them. To level up your units, you do battles, like siege battles and field battles and any other battles by using your units to kill other units or killing other players. Will give them XP so that they can level up. Maximum level depends on what tier your unit is. You have currently 3 stars on tier 2 and 2 stars on tier 1. So you cannot go past once those 3 stars are filled up. You will not be able to upgrade them anymore or level up them anymore. To use your level points, you go over to here. You click on your unit on the barracks. You click on your unit. You click on unit upgrades. You head over to fitness level 1, and you just use one of your points. Boom, and you get this thing. And then you keep continuing unlocking other things. It's like there's this is how your units get really OP. When you're level 1, your unit's pretty weak at the beginning, but later on when you get your units leveled up, let's say if my unit is extremely high level and I just unlocked another tier, this unit would still be stronger than the other tier as it has the higher level things. As you can see, I put 3 points in strength, so I got level 30, level 3, 30% increase to damage inflicted, so it does so much more damage, as well as 3 and 4, so I increase armor penetration. But to get to the next line, you must unlock. You have to unlock all of these. So there's a lot of them here, as well. If you can see right here, this is also more strength. So it's going to require a lot of points to get to there, and so that's why you will not be able to get all of these on that lower tier, because there will be a max level, because it is 1 point per level, and I do not know exactly what the max level for the conventional swordsman, but like I said, once you fill up these stars, you will not be able to gain any more levels. Let's go ahead and move over to talk to the building officer, and let's talk to the Scholar's Hut. The Scholar's Hut allows you to research new technologies so that you can get better units, and actually you can research things that improve the performance of all of your units. So if you have a lower level unit, all these stats from the research will affect those units. So like I said, like we have here, increases spear infantry unit block by value 2. It is more than that. It is 2% each tick, I believe. I think that's a little bit bugged, because 1 out of 1 was 2%, and I believe once you have, let's say, I don't know really, but this is 2%, but I increased it 5 times and it's always said 2%. So it may be a bit bugged. To research, it takes a pretty decent amount of honor, as you can see, honor 100. And the more you research, the higher the honor cost is going to be. As you can see, 5 out of 5 honor cost. So to start researching, like I say, okay, first I need to do at the very beginning. I want, say, sword infantry. Okay, so first you upgrade this. I'm going to go to this. So now I have the swordsmen. So we have shielded swordsman units range attack resist by 2%. Okay, so requires 50 honor. Doesn't require time. On the CBT, there is no current time for this, but there is time for the resource selection, because as you can see, it takes a little time. This is 10 minutes, and the more you research into this, the more higher time is going. It can take a while for the technology in the future. So make sure you keep an eye on your technology and continually research the technology and stuff like that. So I'm going to click on here, and to recruit new units, if you head over here to unit tree, right here it says required technology regular drill. So I'm going to go to my Scholar's Hut. I'm going to find regular drill. Let's see here, regular drill. Right here. So I'm going to research all of these. I want to research all of these to get to regular drill. You do not have to research these two to get, or these two to get to regular drill. All you have to do is research this line to get to regular drill. So I'm going to research everything to get to this thing. So that's pretty much it for the building officer and the research and the leveling up your units, etc. So let's go ahead and move on to how you can use your units on the siege equipment, and then we'll call it a day. To interact with siege equipment with your units, all you have to do is hold control and then left click any of the ladders, siege towers, or battering rams. Those siege towers and the battering rams are very similar, as they will your units will go directly to them when you control left click them, and they'll start pushing them forward. But the ladders, you need to go up to it and click on go up to as a player, press F, hold F, I believe it's hold F, to put the ladders up, and then just control left click the ladders and your units will start going to. Also remember, you cannot put your units information when your units are climbing up. If your units are still climbing up the ladder, you cannot put your units on formation on the other side of the ladder, on top of the walls and stuff like that. But the siege equipment, if some of your units die below the wall, the siege tower, the battering ram will stop moving, and they will more of your units from the back that are waiting will move up to basically resupply who died and take over and keep pushing the battering ram. So make sure you take out those enemy artillery that are shooting at the siege equipment, so your units don't die like that. Thank you guys again for stopping by and watching the video. I really hope this video helped you. Also, I noticed that my voice cut out at certain parts in the videos while I was editing. I had to record multiple times on trying to do this thing. This video has taken me multiple days because my schedule has been fucked. Also, I'm sorry that I have not been uploading actively for these tutorial things. It's just very hard for me to think of what exactly I want to do next. Most likely in my next video will probably be maybe a siege sort of artillery explanation, but that's not going to be that long for artillery thing, so it's just going to be a small little tutorial for that. But I wanted to do my next video for economy wise, but there's just not enough stuff in the game for me to really start explaining the economy, because in OBT it could literally be completely different, and so that's why I want to wait until I have more information. So on OBT, I think that's when I will start to make the economy videos, because that's when you guys really need to start knowing. I'll try to get my economy video immediately out there on the beginning of OBT after I do my 24-hour stream that day. So again, thank you guys for stopping by, and I'll see you guys in the next video of Conqueror's Blade Basics.